was riding the e-scooter and within the first week of me being out.
Out of what?
The Stella Mars.
Okay.
I had when my grandma made me leave, I had my bag on my back, and I was riding the e-scooter, and I hit a pothole, and I tried to catch myself, and I tore my leg.
Okay. Did he try to call you?
I attempted to get in touch with him on several occasions through his grandmother. He finally called me on August 27th, stated he had just gotten a phone. I instructed him he needed to report to me that day before 11, which was the message I'd given his grandmother because that was the only number I had on which to reach him. He told me he would be on his way out, and I did not see him until he was arrested on his PV. And nor did Stella Maris hear from him at all. He had given them his brother's number, and they were never able to reach him on that phone number. So I saw him when he came into the jail on November 25th. And that's when he tested positive.
For cocaine?
Cocaine and marijuana.
Self-medicate myself, sir.
Okay. You've been doing that forever.
I mean, like I said before, though, I'm an addict. Dealing with addiction is something that I'm gonna deal with for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Hopefully I can beat this, but...
Yeah, but that's why, see...
The hearing opens with a request for another chance. But the real issue is not sympathy, it is reliability. Defense counsel presents a chain of hardships that could explain missed reporting, yet the court has to separate explanation from accountability.
When you were on probation here, when you were first put on probation, we released you to Cuyahoga for those 2 cases. They put you on house arrest with a bracelet.
GPS, yes.
And you cut it off and ran. And were gone for a year, right?
I put myself in a rehab, sir. I was in a lighthouse facility in Columbus for 5 months.
Okay. Well, see, I don't know any of this stuff. Just like I don't know what happened to you from August 27th to November 25th.
Right.
Other than you were using drugs because you tested positive for cocaine. So you got a lousy track record.
Yeah, I was using, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Your biggest problem is that you don't show up.
I apologize.
Well, I accept your apology, except that doesn't solve the problem. Because when you're on probation, you gotta show up.
Yes, sir.
And you know how this, you know how this shit works. Because you've been in and out. You've been mostly in the system for 20 years. Some small things, some big things. 2 numbers and 10. And then 6. When you get out in 10,
I went in 2006. I got out roughly like 2008. I ain't been in prison ever since then.
you went in 6, September 6th, out in July of 7. You went in June of 9, got out in April of 10. And there was a parole violation. I'm not sure what happened with that. Once you get out in 10, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 misdemeanors, a couple unknowns, I don't know what those were. A felony in Cuyahoga on a 5. And on that one, Corrigan sent you inpatient drug treatment.
On that case, when I went back and forth in front of Deborah and Turner, the probation officer wasn't supposed to violate me and send me there, though. They see through that, because I got...
Well, that was Corrigan.
Yeah, I know, though, but the case got transferred over to Deborah and Turner, and she threw the case out because she said there was some papers...
That was a domestic case.
No, she also heard that case before the domestic case. That, too, that got thrown out as well. But the case that you talk about, when they sent me to the treatment center, though, they weren't supposed to say it. They were supposed to, once I paid the restitution back, they were supposed to cut me off probation. The probation officer never took me off probation.
Once probation records enter the discussion, the hearing shifts away from emotion and into verification. Every claim is measured against documented contacts, reporting history, and treatment participation. That is where many probation cases are won or lost.
Is there still one of these things pending?
No, no more cases.
No, the second case was dismissed. The first one is where he pled to the strangulation, F4, and the domestic violence, M1. And was given credit for 214 days time served. That was on CR 23685-243.
That was dismissed?
That was the case that he pled to.
Okay.
And was given credit for time served. So the prior one, let's say, I believe it's the 682628 that was dismissed.
Who was the one in the CBCF? Junior?
Yes.
Where's he at?
He at home right now.
Doing what?
I guess waiting to hear from me.
No, but what does he do since he got out?
Just last night was my first time talking to him, though.
When did he get out?
December, I believe.
What's he been doing since you've been in?
I know he said he signed up for the police academy. They told him they wanted him to get his GED. That was one of the things me and him talked when I was in Stella Myers. We talked about it. Because I got to get my GED as well. Though I told him I'd take, we'd do the test and do all that together, whatever, like kind of motivate him to do it. My brother sent him a phone from California, though, so me and him just first time talking since the funeral yesterday, for real, honestly, because we've been both back and forth or whatever.
When was the funeral?
March 1st, last year.
So I'm going to assume you never did the mental health evaluation, right?
I did do the mental health evaluation.
Where?
At Stella Mars. They sent me to a Signature Health. So that was part of my aftercare program that I was going to take care of all of that doing there. Like I said, I never completed the aftercare program. But my problem right now with all my legal, because I know you told me to get my license and everything though, but I was waiting for my W-2s to come out for this year so I could have proof of verification of who I am, because I don't have no ID or birth certificate or nothing. So a lot of things is at home.
Where were you born?
In New York. So that's the whole, that's another thing that's slowing me down a little bit. But my temp agency has my W-2s. I could pick them up.
Where did you work in 25?
Either 25.
Who sent you W-2?
The Lakeland temp agency. So I worked for Bon Appetit, and I worked at American Iron and Metal. Well, Bon Appetit last year. They want me to put an application in to be hired in, but I need
doing what?
Prep cooking.
Okay, what's the other place you worked at?
American Iron and Metal and
Doing
Renaissance. Driving tow Morris. But I'm trying to get into Edwin's Culinary School. I got somebody that own a restaurant. They want to give me a job there, though. I like cooking, though, so I'm really trying to push myself towards the restaurant. I want food trucks, for real. So me and my son could work towards, build towards together, like kind of bonding thing, though. He cook, I cook. So I figured if I get some food trucks, you know, Columbus would be a good site I wanted to set up at, though, and just, you know, try to start my own business, for real. If I want to.
How are you gonna get a license?
What, driver's license?
Yeah.
Well, I got to get my W-2s first, proof of identification. I can use that to get my birth certificate. Once I get my birth certificate, I can work on getting my license. I can't do nothing until I get my birth certificate. Man,
How do you get your birth certificate?
with my W-2s, it's legal documentation of who I am. Because they sent me to a church from Stella Myers, but they was willing to pay for it and the voucher and everything, but I still needed that proof. So I was waiting till my W-2s reissued for this year so I could get them from Lakeland Temp Agency. Marcia, she said she'll put all my mails forwarded to the Temp Agency. Marcia, she kind of helps me out, though. They make sure I'm working or whatever.
All right, so,
The discussion then moves toward the future instead of the past, and that shift is important. Rather than focusing only on violations, the judge explores whether a practical path actually exists after release.
so where do you get your birth certificate from?
New York Vital Statistics, I think it's in Manhattan, I think. My father's in New York, but he got the last one for me, though, so I think he's like slacking on getting it for me because of that. Me and my wife got into it and she threw all my stuff away. That's when around the time I got the domestic violence charges with her. So my birth certificate, all my credentials was a part of what she had thrown away. So it was kind of set me back a little bit.
Well, you've been a pretty bad probationer, haven't you?
So I admit to that. But when I turned myself in last time, I was honestly trying to put my best foot forward and do the right thing, Your Honor.
Where did you turn yourself into?
Cuyahoga.
And why did you do that?
It was just the closest.
How did he get caught, Jamie? Do you know?
But this time, I'm not sure, Your Honor.
So this time I was downtown, I was smoking a cigarette, and they had pulled me over, talking about I was littering. And I'm like, I flicked the cigarette off and put it in my pocket, but it was like a group of people around me. I guess they thought I was part of that group. And when they ran my name, I had a warrant.
So you didn't turn yourself in?
Not this time, no. No, not this time. No.
Right. Well, when were you talking about?
The last time I was in here for my violation, I had turned myself. I went to that rehab. When I got out, went to the funeral. When I came from the funeral, I turned myself in, and that's how I got it from you.
What was his last violation for, Jamie? Do you have that?
That was for failing, I believe it was for failing to report.
Is that when he disappeared for a year?
Yes. Yeah, he has never reported to our office.
Never?
He's only been up to the probation department when he was brought up on rules.
You've been on
First one was for non-reporting and then for positive cocaine, marijuana, and alcohol.
You've been on probation for
Because he was testing.
2.5 years.
While he was on bond.
Yes, sir.
And you've never reported to probation?
And I would have concerns about if he's going to be living with his son. I just looked, his son had a violation 5 days ago in Cuyahoga County for testing positive for drugs.
Do you know that?
No, I didn't.
Is his son in jail or is there a warrant out?
The hearing becomes far more revealing once the judge starts testing the defendant's history instead of his current emotions. A repeated failure to report is treated as a behavioral pattern, not an isolated mistake. That distinction changes the entire legal picture.
No, it looked like he just fled and he was supposed to do intensive outpatient treatment.
So when's the last time you used? November 25th?
Yeah, no, 20th. Came here on the 20th. That's the last time I used. What paper maybe a week before that? I'm like,
You were arrested on November 24th.
oh, I thought it was 20th.
So you were using that whole time, right?
No, not the whole time though, but I did eventually started using. They had gave me some prescription pain pills for my leg. Like I said, my leg was broken. When I ran out of the pain pills, I just felt, it was easier to self-medicate myself.
Why is it you want to be on probation?
I mean, 'cause like honestly, like I said, man, I want to try to do the right thing. Me and my son been a year since me and him been around each other. Since his mother passed, I want to try to be a father. I want to try to, show my son a positive way of doing things and doing the right thing. I don't want to go to prison because I feel like that's going to set me back even more because I've already, been messing up. And like I said, I didn't turn myself in last time to mess up. I honestly trying to do the right thing, honestly. I mean, I know it's hard to believe because of situations, but I'm too old to keep messing up, man. And, right now, the critical time between me and my son, I just want to
Well, what are you gonna do with your son? I mean,
believe it or not, though, like, I got a big influence on my son.
what?
I got a influence on my son. Like, even though like some things I do, that's maybe not, not right. Like, even though I tell him like, yo, don't do what I do something differently. He tends to try to like listen to what I tell him to do. I don't want him like to take his mother death and like, go the wrong way with it though. Like, cause we just got him to the point where even though I know he's using the drugs because of the emptiness of not having his mother around because he was doing good on house arrest for a while. And I just don't want him to backtrack. But like I said, like we could use each other to try to like build each other and move forward. You know what I'm saying? Because I noticed like even when I was using heavy, when I was with my family, I didn't use drugs in my house. I didn't do drugs around them, even though they knew I was doing drugs. But that was kind of my motivation to try to like get off of drugs and do better. That's why I went to the rehab, because I seen a problem in my house and I wanted to fix it. So I put myself in Lighthouse Treatment Center. It was a 52-week program, and I was planning on staying there the whole 52 weeks. But I got the call that she had committed suicide, and that's what made me come home. Even though like that's like my weakness in life right now. You know what I'm saying? I had used drugs as, to help me get through childhood traumas, physical traumas. I started doing the cocaine because I had my jaw broken in 2 places, torn AC rotator cuff and a fractured rib from getting jumped and hit by a car or whatever. And that addiction, it was a tool to help me get, because I was working at J.R. Wheel, and it helped me get through work or whatever. But, after I got through that healing process, I still had an addiction. So it's been hard to kind of kick that ever since, though. I mean, I just want you to know, like, Your Honor, like, man, I don't want you to see me as no liar, man. Yeah, I know I've been roughly dragging through this, though, but I'm trying to get better, man. That's the only thing I can say. I don't want to keep making no excuses.
Since you cut out on the aftercare, look, whatever I do, I presume everything you're telling me that you want to get off drugs and do everything positive that you just told me that you intend to do. So how are you going to accomplish that? No matter what I do.
Right. By wanting to do it, though, that's where it starts at, though. Like, by actually wanting to do it. like facilitate myself. That's the first time I ever facilitated myself. That's how I knew like this time for a
What do you
change.
mean? What do you mean facilitated yourself?
When I put myself in rehab.
You talking about 2 times ago at Lighthouse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like so that,
But where you are now is you did that,
right.
then you went to Stella,
But
you bugged out on the aftercare, and then you used. So,
But that's
so
why-
you are where you are now. So
Yeah.
what are you gonna do about where you are now?
The defendant shifts his focus toward his son, hoping to show the court that family responsibility can become the motivation that finally changes his life. From a strategic standpoint, this is one of the strongest arguments available.
if I want to do some more of that treatment though, I wouldn't mind doing the program, honestly. That's gonna be like my, guidelines to like, sober living though, you know what I'm saying? Because like being on drugs for so long, you forget how to do things off being off drugs. And I see like I need some type of structure. I ain't gonna lie to you. I do need that.
Where are you gonna find the structure?
I will go back to Stella Myers aftercare program though. I did like the program.
They
honestly.
may not want you back there. I don't know.
Hopefully they do. I didn't do nothing like I completed the residential. I didn't have no problems. Doing the program, and then I had no incidents. I successfully completed the residential portion of it. I should have took the residential, not the residential, but the sober living program. I just didn't expect to be homeless. That was like my biggest problem at the time. That was like, kind of put me in like a negative headspace though. 'Cause I was homeless for a minute, then I broke my leg. But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to just keep trying to make excuses though, man. I just honestly want a chance to do right though, honestly.
Well, that really doesn't have anything to do with me.
I
does
get
it?
it.
Does it?
It don't. It starts with me.
Right. So this whole case, boy, you sound like the one that was here this morning. That this whole case started with a traffic stop and a gun in a car. And you get on probation, and then you royally screw it up because you compound everything. And it seems to be what you do. You get, and then once you get here, you get released to take care of Cuyahoga County. You cut off your GPS and disappear for a year. You have this tendency to compound the situation you create for yourself, and all it does is dig you deeper and deeper. What did they tell you at Signature Health when you went for your evaluation?
They was giving me a worker, somebody, a caseworker to talk to, but we never made it past. If I would have went to the HP, I could have connected with. I forgot the lady's name too. Tie everything in, all the paperwork I have. It's in the apartment where I was subleasing just before I came in here. I never got around to taking care of none of that because of the ID and identification problem I had. And being, discouraged, like I already messed up, so there ain't no need for me to do this and do that, But the Signature Health, that's for the mental health problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did they?
So she was setting me up with a counselor, and I think the counselor, I believe, is like Palmer location or something like that. I had the paperwork. I got all the paperwork for this at the house though. I got to get to it, but I did set everything up though. Just never executed.
That's kind of what you do, though, right?
I'm not trying to keep a pattern of that going on, but that's what's been happening.
I mean, that's the pattern, though, isn't it?
Yes, that's what's been going. Yes.
How long has he been sitting in jail on this thing, Jamie?
115 days. He has 290 days in total.
Why have you been sitting here for 115 days?
don't know. When I waived my right, they put me back in there, and I've been sent for my court date.
Right.
The questioning now reaches the core issue of rehabilitation: structure. The judge repeatedly asks where accountability will actually come from, because every previous support system eventually failed. Treatment was started, but not completed.
Well, I set the court date back when you waived,
Yes.
okay? Because you disappeared for a good long time, so we disappeared you over here for a good long time.
I do apologize, Your Honor. I know.
So you'd rather be put back on probation
Yes, at least, I mean,
than do a short stint in prison and get out and be free of probation? Is that what you're telling me?
I would like to be reinstated, yes.
Huh?
I would like to be reinstated, yes. Because, like, my record already, I got 2 numbers, then another number on top of that.
Sucks, right?
Yeah.
All for a more or less passive charge to begin this thing.
And my resentment towards this whole case in the beginning was that fact that, so when I got pulled over with the gun, it was my wife's gun in her car, and I was running to go get medication for her. And that's like what my resentment was from the first one. I'm like, man, I'm not trying to deal with that, because I went that period of time without being in trouble, and now I'm getting caught up. But possession is 9/10 of the law. The gun was in my possession, even though everything was registered to her. And the reason why I was even pulled over because she had a warrant for a missed storage of a firearm in the first place, not going to court for that. And it's just like, I was just kind of you know what I'm saying, mad about that from the whole beginning, though, because I was like working at Renaissance and the Red Lobster trying to do the right thing, and the right thing got me in trouble.
Where were you living at the time?
We were staying either in Indian Hills. Me and her and her mother stayed in Indian Hills.
Off of 185th somewhere?
Yeah, that was the whole
On
reason
Euclid
why.
Avenue?
Yeah, that's the whole reason why we ended up getting a hotel out there, because we didn't want to, like, you know, be partying in the house. So we got the hotel out here by Red Lobster, where I was working at. And for me,
Which
going
hotel?
to the Super 8. So
Bad place.
I didn't know that. We just went to the bowling alley, the bowl, and then we was drinking. So we was like, yo, stay here. She's having tremors, so I had to run and get her medication. On the way coming back, that's when I got pulled over.
How many AA meetings did you go to?
Doing the program
Huh? No.
on my own,
Yeah.
I didn't go to no AA meetings. I'm not gonna say a lie. My biggest problem at that moment was like moving around. My leg was honestly, I got medical records for my tibia being broken, my ACL, and my meniscus being torn in my knee. I'm still got leg problems. So I wasn't really moving around like too much, though. I was really stationary, though, honestly.
The final stretch before sentencing reveals a major shift in the defendant's thinking. Instead of minimizing responsibility, he begins connecting today's situation to years of decisions that slowly compounded into larger consequences.
What's the difference between being over here and being in prison?
I really ain't no difference. Honestly,
Is this more restrictive?
yes. Honestly, yeah. I think this time harder than prison time, honestly.
Okay. Against everybody's better judgment, I'm gonna keep you on community control, but I'm extending it to 11/15 of 28. So you bought yourself 2 more years. Now, I'm gonna give you some conditions, and I don't know if you're gonna do anything. It's up to you, but I'm sure Jamie's starting the over-under on the number of times you show up, and probably not a very high number. Okay. But you're gonna do 120 days of credit for 115, no drugs or alcohol with screens. Complete the aftercare at Stella or similar aftercare program. Continue with Signature Health or get back to Signature Health in that program and follow the recommendations. Get full employment, 3 AAs a week and a sponsor, get a driver's license and pay the costs. Now look, I don't know whether you're gonna do one thing of this, other than the 5 more days. I know you're gonna do that, okay? But I was gonna give you 18 months in prison. You already done 8 months. Nine months. You did almost 10 months. I was gonna give you 18 months in prison.
Right.
But if you just conned yourself into probation, then when you come back, it'll be 36 months.
I apologize for me inconveniencing the court though. And
I mean, I generally don't believe anything anybody tells me, because everybody's trying to get away with the least amount possible, okay? So I don't have any expectation that I'm getting the truth, but you ain't conning me, you're conning yourself in another 18 months when you come back.
I understand. I appreciate you, Your Honor.
So that's a, when is that, a Sunday? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday. You get out Monday. And you gotta go to, that'll be your first visit to probation department,
That Monday.
as soon as you get out.
Yes.
Yeah, Jamie.
I need to know where he'll be living, because we've never had an address.
How about an address?
And I don't know that with his son would be the best place if his son is actively using as well.
Other than that, I will have to give you 2100 if I can't use the address on Larchmere.
Okay. Where's the address on Larchmere?
I have to call and get the address, honestly.
All right, so you'll call and you'll know that Monday.
Yes.
Okay. Now, listen.
Every explanation is tested against one simple standard: what will actually be different after release. That is why discussions about meetings, treatment, and personal responsibility matter more than stories about how the case began. Courts cannot rewrite the past, but they can measure whether someone has developed a realistic recovery plan. The defendant finally admits he needs outside structure instead of relying solely on willpower, and that acknowledgement becomes one of the few statements that directly addresses the court's biggest concern. The judge's decision is less an endorsement of the defendant than a calculated gamble. Community control is extended with stricter conditions because the court concludes there is still one final opportunity worth offering, despite an extensive history of noncompliance. Every condition targets a weakness exposed during the hearing. Continued treatment addresses addiction. Mental health services address underlying instability. Employment creates routine. AA meetings provide accountability. A driver's license removes practical barriers that were repeatedly used to explain delays. None of these requirements exist as punishment alone. Together, they form a framework designed to eliminate the excuses that have repeatedly surfaced. At the same time, the judge openly warns that this extension increases the consequences of any future violation, making clear that the next failure would almost certainly close the door on probation for good. The hearing ends with one of the clearest realities of probation. The court cannot force someone to recover. It can only create opportunities and impose consequences. The judge makes it clear that supervision is not constant surveillance, and that message carries more weight than any formal warning. Success will depend entirely on choices made after leaving the courtroom, not promises made inside it. Even the discussion about housing reflects that concern, as the court questions whether the proposed environment will support recovery or encourage relapse. Rather than expressing confidence, the judge openly acknowledges uncertainty about whether this decision will help or simply delay another violation. That honesty highlights the difficult balance courts face every day, protecting public trust while still leaving room for genuine rehabilitation when even the odds suggest failure.